So today is the first day of Lent. It begins on Ash Wednesday, and Lent, of course, is a Christian festival acknowledging the 40 days that Jesus spent fasting in the desert. And because Jesus fasted, part of Lent is fasting or giving up things for the 40 days, praying or sitting in meditation, sharing resources. Lent runs from the 2nd of March today to the 14th of April, and it ends on Holy Saturday, so the day that Jesus was buried in the tomb before Easter Sunday, where he was found by Mary Magdalene. So it is very much a Christian festival. And it's been mentioned in our tarot community by Sylvain over at Sylvain Deadly Sins, who now has a tag out for the 10 decks for Lent. So it's kind of a play on Katey Flower's Only 10 Decks. So only 10 decks for Lent. And it just got me thinking about Lent and what I would want to give up. Not only deck-wise, so, what decks would I give up for 40 days and what 10 decks would I really want to keep with me, but also things like the way I speak to me, the inner critic, not looking after myself, sabotaging my recovery back into health. Those are things I really, really want to give up. And it made me get this box out now. This box was made for me for my birthday last year by a beautiful friend of mine who knows exactly the journey I'm on and knows the difficulties that I'm having. And she put a mirror on the top of it, which comes on and off. And she covered the whole box inside and out with self-love quotes. Look, you can see flowers grow back even after the harshest winters, you will too. There are messages like make peace with your broken pieces and you are enough 1,000 times enough. There are messages beckoning me into self-care, like self-care means giving yourself permission to pause. You can see that the mirror removes and there's just so many beautiful aspects to it. So imagine a woman in love with herself. Imagine that woman is you. And I thought, wow, just imagine if you really were in love with yourself, how much life would change. So for me, my 40 days of Lent, I am going to choose some decks that I think will help me get to some of these phrases in here, like the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely and talk to yourself like someone you love, or plant hope in your heart's wounds. So this box is incredibly special to me. Look, it's decorated all the way round, and it has inspired my thinking about Lent, along with Sylvain's VR prompt and my card of the year, which is the death card. I am in a death year at the minute. And of course, when we're asking what needs to die, we're very much in the realm of self-care. What needs to die to be reborn? Death is as much about rebirth and new beginnings and transformations as it is about endings for me. So what needs to die if we're stepping into self-care? The inner critic, the cruel things we say to ourselves, the lack of forgiveness for mistakes and a self-abandoning, when that's all really we've been taught to do. We need some forgiveness for that. The use of addictions to numb ourselves when we are scared to face our feelings after trauma. It all needs forgiveness. It all needs to be bathed in a sea of self-love, self-care. Rushing and hurrying and not giving ourselves time and space, not setting time frames that are realistic, and pushing ourselves. Self-care is as much about space and emptiness and peace and taking things out as it is about putting things in. So all of this has come together, taking things out, not doing things, Lent, self-love, a death year. it's all come together within Sylvain's tag, 10 decks for Lent. So I looked at my decks and I thought, what decks would I want to use? What 10 decks would apply for my world at the moment if I am trying to take out things for Lent? So what are my Lenten sacrifices going to be? What exactly am I wanting to give up for Lent, as well as all the decks and working with only 10? Well, the big things for me are I'd love to give up hiding away, not going out the door, giving into this lethargy that has me. We all know that movement creates more movement, energy creates more energy. It's like a car battery. I want to give lethargy up and replace with daily moving. That will mean walking every day with the dogs and also trying to walk without the dogs. I've recently found a new woodland that I'd like to walk in every day, to try and exercise in some capacity every day, to continue with my adventure tarot and to not be such a slug. And having called myself a slug, the second thing I'd like to give up is my inner critic voice, saying things like slug to myself. And I want to make sure that the voices in my head, there's only one voice in there, and that's mine, to check regularly that I'm not holding on to the voice of abusers. To help with that, I'm going to do mirror work every day. I'm going to just say, hey you, nice to see you. You're doing great. You're looking brilliant. You're a great person. Go and have a nice day. I'm just going to say that every morning. And I want to start cultivating a gentler voice. And because of that, I'm going to look for some gentle decks, I think. The third thing I want to give up, this is a huge one, and that's emotional numbing. I really want to give that up. It leads me into my food addiction. It leads me into computer scrolling and ridiculously high screen time. Now, I've done loads of emotional literacy work. What you're seeing here are images from a 100-day art project called 100 Days of Feel the Feels, where I explored emotional literacy and meditated on it whilst drawing mandalas, and it was just the most incredible 100 days of art and self-healing. And in that time I picked up Luna. Look at baby Luna looking at me there. But I need to get back to exploring my emotions again, because I'm state managing in other ways. And then lastly, I want to give up hurry and stress and anxiety, that feeling of rushing. I'm going to continue decluttering through Lent, but I also want to journal every single day and to meditate every day. And then that brings me to my first deck, because this deck is encouraging path working, sitting still and meditating. And of course, it's the fantastic Arthurian Tarot, which I am currently doing the Hallow Quest for. The Hallow Quest itself starts on May the 21st. So the Hallow Quest will start towards the end of Lent, and I'm in the first preparing lessons at the moment, but it's already added meditation into my practice. So of course this deck has to be in my 10 because I'm on the Hallow Quest, but with that wanting to give up hurrying and to set my time frame slower, to step into slow living freedom, I think meditating every single day for 40 days is really going to help. This deck is already transformative in my practice and my life. I would go as far as that. It is just so important to me. So the Arthurian Tarot, in line with everything I want to give up and let die for Lent, and everything that I would like to bring in for Lent, it just fits in perfectly. Deck number 2, the Dark Goddess Tarot. I might count this as one of my 10 decks. In fact, I don't think I'm going to, but I'm going to mention it anyway. So getting out the door, giving up lethargy and hiding away. The Adventure Tarot with the quest for the Sheila and the gigs. Of course, the Dark Goddess Tarot is what started it all. Throughout Lent, I definitely want to continue with Adventure Tarot and taking my much loved little travel altar out with me, which of course is where the Dark Goddess Tarot is housed. I absolutely adore this deck. I am studying it, but throughout Lent, it might get studied, it might get left to one side and just used when we go out on a quest for the Sheila and the gigs. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll link some Adventure Tarot videos at the end. But the Dark Goddess Tarot is one that will be in the mix, but I don't think... Can I cheat? Can I not class it as one of my 10? Let's see how we go. I'm marking it down now as possibly deck number 2, possibly not. I haven't decided how many other decks are going to be in here. But, yeah, it definitely needs to not be forgotten during the next 40 days. Deck number 3 is the Miss of Avalon Oracle. Now, this is still in its plastic packaging. It ties in with all my Arthurian legend reading that I'm doing at the moment and my work with the Arthurian Tarot. I haven't opened it yet. I'm really excited about it. So this one I'm putting in the mix. It's exciting and it helps to get me out the door. Now for a really special deck. This was gifted to me by the same beautiful friend that made the box for my birthday. This is the Reclaim Oracle. I've yet to work with it because I don't know why. I've just been going slow, haven't I, this year? And I just, oh my gosh, I love it so much. I did one card pull this morning with it and it literally made me cry. This, of course, is for the self-love work that I want to do in Lent, to try and understand my emotions. It'll be for the emotional literacy work I want to do. It's going to help me develop a gentler voice with myself, to get rid of that inner critic. It kind of just covers all bases. A really important deck, I think, for anybody stepping into self-love work or emotional literacy or state management work. These are the backs. I think it's wonderful. It's all sizes and shapes, so if there's any body issues that you're working with, again, I think this deck is just perfect. And it's perfect not just with the artwork and these amazing figures that are depicted, but look at the keywords, look at them. They are just so useful for triggering self-love work. I mean, look at that image. Isn't that incredible? I completely love them. That presence card that I pulled that this morning in my pull, that's the card that made me cry. I think when you felt so for so long you're invisible to people, that presence card is just something else. So, and there's the word shame there. So that's deck number 4, the Reclaim Oracle. Okay, we're halfway through now. This is deck number 5. And this is the Gentle Tarot. Again, a deck that I haven't worked with yet. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful, this deck. It's so lovely. And I said, with the things that I want to give up, I want to give up that the way I speak to myself. I want to speak to myself like I love myself, to develop an inner voice that's gentler and kinder and slower. So the Gentle Tarot, the artwork is sublime. The cardstock is sublime. It's such a wonderful deck, and I just want to give it a go, working with it across the 40 days of Lent to see if it can do what it says on the tin and add some gentleness into my inner world and my inner voice. to develop a gentler space, a more forgiving space, a kinder space, a space that doesn't rush me into panic and overwhelm. The Hanged Man is my card for March, and that talks about hanging around, not racing forward, looking at things from a new perspective. So can the Gentle Tarot work with Hanged Man energy and give me a new perspective on how to speak to myself, how to set time frames, how to integrate wins and tell myself, do you know what, well done, you're doing awesome. You're not a 20-year-old supermodel, you're not a Olympian athlete, but you know what, you're doing pretty darn well. I think these colours as well feel like a soft bed to sink into, to rest, and to heal wounds that aren't healed yet. It looks like a soft cloud, this deck. So the Gentle Tarot, that's my halfway point. That's deck number 5 already. We're up to deck number 5. I think I may have to cheat and take the Dark Goddess out of the mix, because there are so many decks I'd like to work with in the next 40 days. But that's part of this tag, right? Giving up some decks as well. I also don't want to forget that it's spring. We're hitting spring and my garden is calling. That's going to be part of getting outside to overcome lethargy. I want to get the garden secure so I can unbarricade it and have a free flow of energy. And I've chosen the Chrysalis Tarot just as a nod to spring. I have started newly working with this deck, and oh boy, is it gorgeous. I think the imagery is perfect for spring. It really will encourage me into the garden. I mean, look at that purple and yellow. It's so Eastery. And as I'm looking at it, oh my gosh, I'm having a thought. I didn't intend to add the deck I'm about to pull out into the mix. It wasn't part of my original 10, but I'm looking at that sort of lilac-y purple against the yellow, and I've just thought of a deck that might pair beautifully with this one, which was a gifted deck from Lisa Pepez in a Peggy bag, and that's the Tarot of Transformation, because of course it's got the purple backs and there's a lot of lilac-y purple throughout. And the Tarot of Transformation, of course, that's perfect for a self-love 40 days. So what do we think about these two together? I really want to put these together. I could class these as a pair, could I? And have that class as one deck? Or shall I call this deck number 6? I'm going to call this deck number 6, but I am going to take the Dark Goddess out of the mix. But look at that. I think that's going to be a really interesting pair of decks to work with in the next 40 days to get to know. I did do some deep diving with the Tarot of Transformation last year, but the Chrysalis Tarot is a new one for me. But oh my gosh, look at the artwork. They are both very, very beautiful. So that fills me with excitement. Oh, look at the swans there. It fills me with a feeling of spring and hope and beauty and the flowers being just around the corner. So that's the Tarot of Transformation with these gorgeous purple backs and the Chrysalis Tarot. With the idea of spring as well and getting me out into the garden, the Seed and Sickle Oracle deck just has to come in the mix. This is a deck that I won in Simon's giveaway at the Hermit's Cave. I have used it only a few times. I love it. I think it's an amazing deck. Of course, it's by Liminal 11, so it's in this incredible box and packaging, a box within a box, all printed. Now, this oracle, which you may already know, comes with 2 guidebooks, and it's perfect for encouraging me into the garden, because the garden closed off and barricaded, which I did at the end of the last growing season last year, because the dogs broke through hedges at the top of the garden, and I ran out of energy for building yet more fences on zero budget with reclaimed materials. So to stop them from continually escaping, I barricaded the garden, which meant that even I couldn't get up there. So I kind of lost progress and momentum on the garden, and that barricaded energy out there, and the lethargy and the feeling of abandoning jobs and flowers and plants, it's had a really profound effect on my emotions. So I think this deck will encourage me out there. So it will help with me getting rid of that lethargy and hiding away, but it will also help with that emotional state management issue that I want to work at during Lent as well. So this is perfect for spring. So, yep, so that is, what's that? Is that deck number 6 or 7? Oh my gosh, I'm losing count. And while I was looking at my Liminal 11 decks I haven't used yet, here's another one. The New Chapter Tarot, which I won in another giveaway. This was Becca's giveaway, and I won this one. I just commented on a live and she pulled my name out, which was incredible. But the colours in this deck, I think as well, are perfect for this time of year. You've got like sort of yellows and pastels and sort of Eastery colours, spring colours. The backs, I think, don't match the fronts. The backs are stunning. I love them, but not sure how they match the front. And I find this deck really intriguing. I haven't used it yet. You can see what I mean about the colours having kind of a springtime feel to them. So I did want to grab out the decks I thought would be perfect, because we're going into spring. Or we're in spring. Oh my gosh, are we in spring yet? I think we might be. And it's just an intriguing deck. So I just thought this will be perfect as well. I think anything with spring colours on might encourage me out into the garden, and but without hurrying myself. I need to remind myself I set my own time frame for jobs. Okay, we're up to deck 9 now, and this was my birthday present to myself, the Primrose and PROSE Oracle deck, which is stunningly pretty. This is the deck that I chose when I was on Lisa and Peggy's Say Yes to the Deck. And this was the deck that we narrowed it down to. So I treated myself for my birthday. It's found on Etsy. It's on Sam Sawyer's shop, I think, and it is stunning. It's holographic, it's pink and lilac, and it's gorgeous, and it's gentle, and it's pretty. That pink is quite Eastery, I think. So again, perfect for spring. But I suspect, because it's so pretty, this might also be perfect to add into some of those lilac-y spring-coloured decks to work with for self-love. I mean, there's butterflies for transformation, there's dogs for loyalty. Look, there's even an octopus in the mix. I have not worked with this deck. I've got so many decks I haven't worked with yet. So this was bought for my birthday at the end of November, and it's sat because I've been engrossed with the Arthurian tarot, and there was Christmas between now and the new year, which is always manic for me. So let's throw that into the mix now. And finally, I think this is deck 10. It might be deck 11, guys. I'm not sure. I've lost count. But it's Lent, it's a Christian festival, and I really wanted to step into this self-loving energy of Mary. So I'm going to put the Mother Mary Oracle into the mix. Not only is this a nod to the fact that it's Lent, but I think self-nurturing, self-loving energy, gentle energy, whilst also having the ferocity behind it to battle emotional healing, which is a tough road. Shadow work is tough work, but Mary energy is what's called for. Now, Mary Energy came to me last year in the Glastonbury Gardens, which saw me walking the waters in the garden in tears. It took me by surprise, I have to say, but this deck is so gentle. I also have the Black Madonna deck as well, which is upstairs next to my bed, which I may also throw in the mix as well, so it might be 12 decks. But Mary Energy at this time of year just seems perfect, and look at it, it is so beautiful. So that's it, guys. 10 or thereabout decks for Lent. So we've got the Arthurian and the Miss of Avalon Oracle there, which are part of my study at the minute, with the Hallow quest and finding out about the Glastonbury legends and the tales of King Arthur. So it's encouraging study. Then some gentle decks for healing and self-love work. So the Tarot of Transformation, the Reclaim Oracle, and the Gentle Tarot. Again, for gentleness as well and self-healing, the Mother Mary Oracle is there in the mix. And then the Liminal 11 decks that I haven't worked with yet. So the New Chapter Tarot, the Seed and Sickle Oracle, which will encourage me in my garden to get the energy flowing again, and the Chrysalis Tarot with all its beautiful spring colours. So I think these three are my nod to spring decks. Look, I can't even fit them all in. Just how many did I pick? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there are 9. There are 9 there. I think there are 9. Yeah, there are 9 there. And 10 with the Primrose and Prose Oracle. Again, gentle, pretty spring colours. And the Dark Goddess Tarot. So it was one extra, but the Dark Goddess, I always said I might take that one out of the mix. So that's it, guys. Thank you, Sylvain, for this fun tag. It really got me thinking about Lent, what I want to give up, what I want to rebirth. Got me thinking about my card for the year as well. It's just been a really useful practice. So the next 40 days are going to be interesting. I'll leave all of Sylvain's links below, his original video. If you are doing this tag, let me know. I'd love to know. Leave me a comment to say you are taking part 2. If you did want to see the Adventure Tarot or any gardening videos, I'm going to leave my gardening playlist up and an Adventure Tarot video for you to go and have a look at here and here. Thanks, guys. If you've enjoyed this, like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Happy Lent, and thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.